All right. We are still at Levi's Stadium, as you can see behind me, and we are still kind of reacting. And, you know, 49ers Trey Lance obviously traded before the game. Still kind of. Still kind of shocking that actually happened. Obviously, the 49ers went out and played against the Chargers. Chargers beat the 49ers. Again, really last preseason game. We got to see Brock Purdy for 2 drives. Brock Purdy looked clean. Brock Purdy looked like Brock Purdy. So nothing really crazy there. Um, so we saw Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold made some good throws. He had a nice touchdown to Willie Snead. He had to throw to Conley down the right sideline. Sam Darnold looking like Sam Darnold. We saw Brandon Allen. He had an interception. Um, Again, I think it's still kind of like a bit of a shell shock because Trey was traded all like while I was on the way here. So I think that's kind of like where I don't know how you guys are feeling. Obviously you've had time to watch the game. I don't know if you went to the game or whatever and had time to kind of process the entire situation, but still kind of trying to process like the whole thing because like I said, I'm in game mode. I'm here at the stadium. So it's it's been it's been interesting to say the least of how it all kind of went down. Um, Obviously, the 49ers traded Trey Lance for a fourth round draft pick to the Cowboys. Kyle Shanahan spoke to the media, basically made it sound like after the 49ers had let him know that Trey was going to be the third quarterback, that he wanted to let him know that he had the opportunity to look elsewhere if that's what he felt was best for him. It sounded like Trey Lance was definitely wanting that. At least that's what it sounded like. So it sounded like Trey wanted to get out after not winning the quarterback 2 position. And again, it sounds like, it was probably a pretty heated conversation or whatever, because as we know, Trey didn't practice that day. And a lot of stuff went down. But it's just crazy. It's crazy that this last 48 hours, we find ourselves kind of like in this situation where, you know, Trey had built some momentum after the Denver Broncos game. Um, and now here we are, and Trey Lance is no longer a member of the San Francisco 49ers. So it's just a wild situation. Again, I see people who care, who don't care, and again, at the end of the day, it's our history now. Like, it's something that will define this story. It's a part of this story. It will always be a part of this story with this 2023 San Francisco 49ers team. If they go to the Super Bowl, we're going to be talking about remember how this all started with the Trey Lance stuff, Nick Bosa holdout. It's a part of the story. So I totally understand if you are one of those people that really don't care and you're team first, whatever. I totally understand. But at the end of the day, this is a part of our story now. And obviously, the big emphasis is on the draft picks, the trade up, all the stuff with Trey just never really coming together. So honestly, at the end of the day, man, like, I don't care if you're team Trey, team Purdy, team 49ers, whatever. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, Trey was still a 49er. I thought he was the future of our franchise when the 49ers traded up to 3 to take him. I wanted Trey Lance to start as a rookie. I wanted the 49ers to build complete a system of belief around Trey Lance. Again, hindsight being what it is, I understand all the decisions that were made. But again, it's still part of our story, still part of our history, still why we're here. And again, he just got traded today. So it's been a wild ride. It's been a wild 48 hours. It's definitely one of the more wild chunks of time that I've experienced. There's been some wild stuff that has gone on with the San Francisco 49ers. Uh, but I would say like right now, kind of again, I'm still here, man. I'm still here. You can see behind me. We got the stadium behind me. Still trying to soak it in. Still trying to kind of like, again, it's just weird. Like I, I'm here trying to grab content. Totally, fully expecting to see Trey Lance. He's not out here. It's just a weird. It's just weird scenario. Not saying that I don't understand it. Not saying that I don't get how I would Trey Lance get traded. I totally understand why Trey Lance would get traded. I knew that was a high likelihood after what just happened, um, and all that kind of stuff. Have I been drinking? No, I don't drink. So I thought it was a high likelihood that Trey was going to get traded. Uh, After this whole situation played out with him being quarterback 3, um, I guess with that being my mindset, I'm also glad that he wasn't just flat out cut, um, which I think is huge because for a second, like it felt like maybe the 49ers were going to cut Trey. And if they were going to cut Trey, that was going to be more devastating because the 49ers wouldn't get anything in return. At least the 49ers did get a fourth round pick. They've been able to identify starters in the fourth round. We know that they're better in those mid rounds and all that kind of stuff. So we got something in return for Trey. But there's multiple layers here because, me speaking to an audience, I'm speaking to multiple segments of fans. People who are fans of Trey, people who don't like Trey, people who don't care one way or the other, people who like Purdy, people like we're talking to a whole bunch of different groups of people right now. So at the end of the day, we're all 49er fans, right? We all want the San Francisco 49ers to win this year. And at one point, we did believe that Trey Lance was going to be the future of our franchise because the 49ers told us that. They traded up all those draft picks. They moved up to 3. They got Trey Lance. So that's where we were at one point in time. Today, that's not the case. Brock Purdy is your quarterback 1, and rightfully so. Brock Purdy is the best quarterback that I've seen quarterback a Kyle Shanahan offense for the San Francisco 49ers. And that's not hyperbole. It's facts. Um, no one moves the ball as well as Brock Purdy. You saw it today out on the field. Like when Brock Purdy is under center, there's an entire calm to the overall offense that it's just going to be fine. I don't know how to explain it, um, but it was apparent in training camp. You could see it in all the move the ball periods and all that stuff. And you can just sense there's something different with Brock. You've heard all the players talk about it. They can never quantify it. They call it the it factor. It's the intangibles. Brock Purdy has elite intangibles. He has elite mental processing. He is a big confidence. He's a calmer. He's a calmer person. In the midst of these battles out here on this field where crazy stuff goes down. Crazy stuff goes down. Turnovers. We saw the turnover. Brock Purdy drove the 49ers all the way down to like the 2-yard line to hand the ball off to Jordan Mason, who had a bit of a fumbling problem throughout training camp. And it kind of showed up today. But you saw what happened. Jordan Mason fumbles in the end zone. No points. Okay. Brock Purdy comes back out, leads the team down the field. He scores it himself. So Brock Purdy, I mean, it became a debate, during training camp. Honestly, it wasn't that much of a debate. It was clear to see who was the best when it came to moving the 49ers offense. And it's Brock. Brock just has this ability to uh, to operate this offense in a way that people I don't think understand. I think when they see Brock, they see a limited quarterback because of his size, his stature, and how hard he throws the football. But I have a news flash for everyone. That's not the only thing you need to play quarterback and be successful at quarterback. You need to be able to do a hell of a lot more than just throw the football far, throw it accurate, and do those other things. You got to be able to operate the offense. You got to be able to communicate. You got to build trust in a bunch of alpha males. And Brock Purdy is phenomenal at that. Brock Purdy is really good at that. So I do think, um, that we're going to be fine with Brock Purdy this year. I think Brock is going to be able to lead us to where we want to go. So I'm not concerned about that. Obviously, Trey Lance, that whole situation, it just became a distraction, right? Because at a certain point, I've been quietly talking about it for about 2 weeks now, about if Brock isn't, or if Trey isn't your starter, and if he's in serious consideration to be quarterback 3, at what point does this become a distraction? Jason says, I ain't never seen any of these people in here. There's a lot of new people in here. I agree. I've been seeing some of the people who've been kind of chirping. I'm like, I've never seen you in here before. But shout out to the mod squad. You know what the vibes are. I rely on you guys. So I'm gonna let the mod squad do all the work in the chat. But yeah, welcome to the SDS for some of these new people in here, and all that type of stuff. Velo says, "Stop it, we ain't winning anything." Love your confidence, Velo. Phenomenal. Thank you for spending $2 to tell me that. So, regardless, what I do think is interesting about this year is we are heading into this year kind of with a cloud over our head. You know what I mean? So I am fascinated to see how this team responds to that. I'm fascinated to see how they act, how they come back from this, how they respond week 1 against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's a good team. Do not sleep on Pittsburgh. Again, people are like trying to like gaslight people for like being like, oh, it's preseason. You see how they do in preseason? Listen, Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin, an extremely well-coached team, a team that is going to be prepared, and a team that has talent. 49ers right now have had a lot of distractions. And that is going to be very, very interesting to see how that pans out on the road. Guys, we didn't have a kicker today. From my understanding, I didn't even see it, but I'm pretty sure Mitch Wishnowsky tried to kick a PAT. Is that what happened? Did Mitch Wishnowsky, like, we had Zane Gonzalez out here. We had Zane Gonzalez out here in uniform, Jake Moody in street clothes, and Zane didn't even kick today. Why isn't Zane out here? Then I saw Zane kind of limping around a little bit. I'm like, what is happening? What is happening right now? Zane strained his calf in warmups. What is happening? Like, I get everyone wanted to get upset about the backup quarterback situation, but at the end of the day, the backup quarterback situation is the backup quarterback situation. Where's our kicker? Woo! So we got interesting momentum right now heading in to this year. Glass City says can't wait for the defensive film breakdown. We got cooked in the run game, yo. Look at the box score. I mean, the 75-yard touchdown against some of our starters, by the way. Yeah, I want to see what the tape is. Again, it's such a different – when you're at the stadium, I'm more vibes. Like, we're vibes here. Like, we're vibing off the crowd energy, all that type of stuff. I don't have replay. I mean, you got a little bit of replay, but I need to go back and watch it to really understand what happened. From the you kind of look at the Raider game. Remember the Raider game? And this now Chargers game, it seems like the 49ers defense has a little bit of trouble with gap scheme. So gap scheme is a power style run concept. Power versus zone are completely different run concepts. Zone is kind of to a direction. The running back makes the zone work by being able to set up and read blocks. And he cuts back off that. That's why it's called zone. You're running to a zone. Power or gap scheme, you're running to a spot. You're running to a gap. You're running to a hole. And it's very specific. And everything is power oriented to move bodies out the way, pull blockers across formation, whether trap, whether counter, all those types of things. We're getting gashed by gap scheme right now. So that's a little concerning. But again, we still haven't seen all the starters out there. So it's a little up in the air with all that situation goes. But I am starting to notice the trend that we're seeing. So, yeah, I am interested to get into the defensive tape and see how that goes. We got a new member. Shout out to our new member. Appreciate you. Velo says, can't wait to give the Bills or Cincy a ring. So the AFC's winning the Super Bowl this year. Oh, I like this one. I like these kinds of super chats. Put your chest on it. Gilbert says, I paid for this super chat, my first ever. Shout out Gilbert. To put everyone on notice. Brock Purdy is the real deal. Hey, I think Brock's legit. He's never gonna be that Josh Allen type, the best dink and dunk quarterback in the league. Hell, if that's what you want to call him, fine. I don't care. But that man knows how to operate an offense, and he knows how to move the football. So I got no problems with that at all. Asian Panda says, no, I paid for this super chat for Trey Lance. Hey, man, pay for all the super chats that you want. Who's going to pay for the super chat for Sam Darnold, though? What about Brandon Allen? Is Brandon Allen going to get any super chat love? Who's going to carry the water for Sam Darnold? So I was thinking about this. I was thinking about this. You know how we've been talking about how the quarterback thing has just turned into an insane distraction, right? Like the Trey Lance. Unfortunately, for what it was, for no matter how much of a ceiling Trey has or potential Trey has or any of that stuff, Trey became a distraction. It is what it is. He wasn't starting, and he garnered more attention than any other player on the team. At a certain point, that's a distraction. I was thinking about it though in the reverse. Are any fans going to be calling for Sam Darnold if Brock struggles? Think about that. Are we going to hear the fan base call for Sam Darnold to come in if Brock Purdy struggles? I don't think they are. I think that now that if you look at the quarterback room of Brock, Sam, and Brandon, if if let's say Brock comes out, they fall to Pittsburgh, or he has a shaky game, or whatever. No one's gonna. I don't know if the fan base is gonna be clamoring for Sam Darnold. I'm not sure we're gonna see any petitions created or content creators going full-fledged start Sam Darnold over Brock Purdy. So if we do believe Brock is the guy and he can do that, well, Brock's going to have every opportunity to get it done. So we'll see. We'll see what's going to go down. But, again, today's a day. I'll say that. Today's a day. Uh, they're already getting ready for a concert down here, which is crazy. And then we don't come back to Levi's for like another month. So it's going to be wild, man. We're not going to be back here for a whole nother month. And where do I live? I live in Levi Stadium. I'm the ginger troll that lives under Levi Stadium. So yeah, we'll see, man. But I will say though that I am looking forward to kind of the conversation about quarterbacks to kind of die down a little bit. So it is what it is. It didn't work out. 49ers moved on, acquired a draft pick, got a fourth rounder, which was actually a little bit higher than I thought. I thought maybe a sixth rounder just based on kind of everything. So fourth rounder, unfortunately, goes to an NFC team. I mean, Trey's definitely going to be the third stringer to start behind Dak and Cooper Rush. So we'll see. We'll see. Again, it's a weird situation because, like, if you're a 49er fan and if you like Trey Lance, it almost feels like you're kind of letting Trey Lance go a little bit, right? Because how are you you can't root for the Cowboys, can you? That's like sacrilegious. Like you can't root for the Cowboys now. You can always root for individual players, right? But you can't root for the Cowboys. Like me personally, I'm a big CeeDee Lamb fan. I like CeeDee Lamb a lot. I still like CeeDee Lamb a lot. I don't like the Cowboys though. I don't like the Cowboys at all. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Hopefully we can put the drama behind us We can. Someone said, "Did I hear about Al-Shair today?" No, what did Al-Shair do? Or did you watch? No, I didn't. But I'm sure he's balling. So, hey, man, it's the end of an era, is what it comes down to. It's the end of an era. End of the Trey Lance era. Trey area. No more. So it's gonna be interesting, man. I heard that I heard the Bills are trying to trade for Trey too. They were possibly involved. Um, Trey wasn't going to be getting a starting job anywhere, and so you know, Jerry Jones, Cowboys, maybe they'll take care of him. We'll see. Someone said he wanted him on the Vikings. I thought the Vikings was the best fit. Uh, I thought the Vikings was the best fit for him, like just from a personal standpoint. But it sounded like the Vikings backed out of a potential trade during the offseason. Um, someone said, I've dated girls longer than Trey with the Niners. Pretty easy to move on. That's wild perspective. It's definitely perspective, but that's wild perspective. Brad, do you think we can get Jason Aponte to kick week 1? I have serious questions about Aponte's kicking ability, but at this point, next man up. Let's put Aponte out there and see what happens. I'm very skeptical that he can even kick the ball 20 yards, but at this point, when in Rome, let's go, Aponte. Suit up. We'll give you the number 10, too. We'll give him number 10. Let him trot out there. See what he's got. Aponte's going to pull a hammy. Facts. Absolutely. So I think it's now going to become fascinating. Like, what are the 49ers going to do with the kicker? Because Kyle Shanahan also talked about that could roll over into week 1. It's week to week. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm pretty confident about this team. I'm pretty confident, but there are definitely some questions. We got some questions to square away before week 1. End the madness. Sign Nick Bosa. Give him all the money. Whatever he's asking for, give it to him. I don't care if it's like $7 million over TJ Watt's number. Just give it to him. At this point, Bosa's not budging. Bosa is clearly calling any bluff and is saying, pay me my number or you will not see me. Ian Rappaport today said that, at least made it seem like Bosa is definitely willing to hold out into week 1. We do not need that. You talk about distractions. Oh, you want to talk about distractions. Now there's a real distraction. Arguably the best player on your team, at least according to the NFL Top 100. What was he, 4th in the entire NFL? 3rd, something like that? And he's not playing week 1 against Pittsburgh? Yeah, no. Nope. Don't like that. Don't like that at all. We need Bosa for that week 1 Pittsburgh so bad. So bad. Drake looks good. We saw Drake out here. He played late into the game. He had a couple of pass deflections. I still think Drake is good. I still think Drake is a bit rotational right now. Him and Cleveland feel like they're going to rotate. So I really do think that they need Nick Bosa. So let's pay Nick Bosa. Did you guys see Fred Warner throw up the Nick Bosa sack celebration? I thought that was a nice touch to it. I'm not gonna lie, they show a lot of like Nick Bosa on like on the stadium videos and stuff like that. I was like, man, every time they show Nick, I'm like, I really miss Nick. When are we gonna get Nick out here? So I want to get Nick paid. If it comes to Monday, and we don't hear anything, it might be time to go full fledged on the hashtag pay Nick Bosa. I've kept that in the holster, man. We turned hashtag pay George Kittle into a movement, so much so that Kittle and Kittle's family were asked to stop using the hashtag pay Nick or pay George Kittle in the middle of the negotiations. So I don't want to get to that point, but I will. I will if we have to. I've been low key this time around because I really did feel like it wasn't going to be that much of an issue. It's officially an issue now, so I hope it gets squared away. This fan base doesn't need another thing to be upset about, and they're preloaded right now to be upset. We got a passionate fan base, man. You got to direct that energy. We got to direct the energy. If you don't direct this fan base's energy into positive things, they will turn on you. I've seen it over and over again. You gotta take this passion of the 49ers fan base and you gotta funnel it into good things. If you don't funnel it into good things, they will turn on you. What you think about our defense this year with the new defensive coach? Nobody going to save Kyle anymore from his dumb plays. Watching the starters against Denver going up against the other starters, I felt really good. I could see the scheme. I could see how aggressive they were going to be. I could see guys like Hargrave balling. So to be honest, I think a lot of people are concerned about the defense because they're getting gashed by, their second and third stringers and what have you. I feel pretty good about this starting defense, man. Like when you got dogs at all three levels, when you got Bosa on the D line, when you got Fred and Dre, when you got Talanoa, that equals out. That really levels out the defense. Like for any perceived concerns with depth or rotational players, like when you got your main guys on the field, it helps everyone. And when you see what Wilkes put on tape last week against the Broncos, they're going to blitz and they're going to be aggressive and they're going to hunt. And I like that. Guess what? If you call the wrong stunt, if you call the wrong blitz on the wrong play, it's going to look really bad. But that's part of the game that you play. You're trying to dial up the right call for the right scheme, and it happens. So, uh, I'm not worried about it, man. Like, I'm really not. When the season picks up, we got all our starters out there, and if things aren't cooking, then we'll be worried. But I've seen enough in some short preseason stuff that we're going to be all right. So I'm not too concerned, man. I'm really not. This offseason has been a lot of lot of people preying on your emotions, to be honest. A lot of people preying on because it's so easy to be worried. And then it's so easy to feed that worry and feed that fear and feed those insecurities. But I think the rational take right now is that I think we're going to be all right. Get Bosa paid, figure out what's going on with the kicker. Once those two things happen, I really don't have too much concern for this team. Because my biggest concern came from Brock Purdy. That was my number one. My biggest concern was Brock Purdy's coming back from surgery. And I've seen enough from Brock where he's made me feel comfortable. So if you can get Bosa paid, figure out what's going on with kicker. Nickel corner, that is turning into something as well. The nickel cornerback situation. So there's still little holes here or there. But hey man, like I said, if you're putting pressure on these quarterbacks with Nick Bosa and Hargrave and Armstead, that's gonna really help your cornerback situation quite a bit. So I like Womack. I like some of the guys that we have. I'm not ready to hit the panic button. I don't think Oliver's turning out to be what we thought he was gonna be. But hey man, we'll see. I'm not ready. I'm not ready to start panicking off of preseason. I think if there's one thing you've noticed about me, I don't panic very easily. Just like last year, everyone panicking over Aaron Banks. Aaron Banks is going to be a bust. After that Chicago game, Eric Banks is a bust. People were yelling at me because I would not say that Aaron Banks is a bust. I said, give him time. What he's struggling with is correctable. So if he gets in the lab and corrects it, he'll be fine. What happened? He fixed it, he corrected it, and he looks fine. So that's the way football works. I know we wanna focus on results, but we got to focus on the process. That's the theme of this year. Hey man, nothing will ever beat the Texans the third week of the Texans preseason game last year. Nothing will ever beat that. Nothing will ever beat that. So I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be all right. Nothing will ever replicate the panic of the Texans game loss with Trey, by the way. Nothing will ever replicate that. So we're doing all right. We're doing all right. Oh man, it's all good. We got passionate fan base. So let's see what the starters look like. P Lover? Who's that? P Lover. I'm assuming that's the Oliver. Oliver's struggling, man. Oliver's struggling. I think we got to do a 53-man roster projection here pretty soon. We got to do a 53-man post preseason 53-man roster. Because I'm gonna be making some cuts. I might have to do a Kyle depth chart, and I might have to do a Brad depth chart because I can think like Kyle, And my depth chart is I already know is going to look different than Kyle's. So I might have to do two, kind of like, because he's going to keep guys that I would cut. And so might have to do like a simultaneous 53 man, mine versus his. What I think he's going to do, what I think he should do, because those are two different things. Those are two different things for sure. But this is probably the best advice that I've gotten all night. I'm going to go home now. I have to drive about an hour and a half that away. So I won't be getting home until about 1:30. That's why I'm still here trying to get my live out the way. It's almost 12 o'clock here. It's 11:41. Shout out to all you guys for tapping in. Again, I know I'm talking to real Niner fans right now, right? So if you're watching this live at 11:42, you're a Niner fan. And whether you're happy with what's going on, whether you're upset with what's going on, or you're indifferent, at the end of the day, our season hasn't even started, and there's a lot of good things in front of us. I get it. People want to hit the panic button. People want to get upset. People want this. People want that. They want answers. They want this. I get it. But we're going to be all right. We're going to figure it out. This team's still in a good spot. And you know they're going to compete. These guys ain't going to lay down. All right? So that's what I know. I know this group is going to compete till there's nothing left. So the story's just getting started, ladies and gentlemen. And we pick up week 1 in Pittsburgh. Terrible towels, Mike Tomlin, Pickett to Pickens, Najee Harris. It's going to turn up. Shout out to everyone who tapped in. Appreciate everyone who sent a super chat. Appreciate y'all. We'll figure out what content is going to look like the rest of the week. We got about 2 weeks. We got a 2-week break. So we'll see. Shout out to all you guys. I'm going to go drive home now. Y'all be good. I'm out of here. Peace.